Congressman Jim Hines talks about UFO hearings in the Senate and a lot more today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Oh, and I realized I never addressed the presidential debate, and that's because they didn't talk about UFOs at all. I'm hoping there will be a second debate, and then maybe we can dive into some of the meteor stuff, at least where I'm concerned, which is, of course, UFOs. Will that happen? Who knows? But, fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. So, okay, let's get into the UFO news of today. And we have from Matt Laszlo and Walker Whalen of Askapol, Representative Jim Hines, dismisses Senate UAP hearing with arrow. Senators need to get briefed and then move on. Yeah, I've talked before about how weird it is that the Senate is planning this meeting with arrow. I mean, why even bother? Really? Unless you're going to rake them over the coals, right? Unless you're going to say, hey, shape up or you ship out or something like that. I don't understand what the point is of meeting with those guys, but whatever. Askapol asks, have you heard about Senator Kirsten Gillibrand hoping to bring AARO, aka All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, in for a public hearing? Hines says senators need to get briefed and then move on. Just way too much energy, and there is no there. So before senators start talking about it, they need to get briefed. I don't know what he means by there's no there. Is he just saying there's nothing there regarding UFOs? News. So I got an extensive briefing 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago by AARO, Hines told us, and they looked at every single compartmented program, and yeah, there was a program here or there that was set up in the event that we found something, but there's just nothing there. Yeah, so that's where he's coming from. UFOs just aren't even a thing. Caught our ear, and I mean, it just pains me to say because there's thousands of people out there who wake up in the morning desperate for there to be evidence of alien life, but there's none. And they, AARO, looked at every single compartment in the program. So yeah, AARO is doing a bang-up job. They've looked at everything, and there's no there. So thank you, AARO, for doing your job, which is, of course, a disinformation job, which they are doing spectacularly yet. Moving on. SETI Institute launches groundbreaking grants program in technosignature science in the search for ET. Now, I'm not super excited about SETI. I actually took a college class on SETI back in the day, back before I was actually into UFOs. I thought, well, it's kind of interesting, right? Counted as a science credit, so I took it, right? SETI Institute has announced a groundbreaking grants program to help advance technosignature science and the search for ET intelligence. The unique initiative aims to fund innovative research tackling key observational, theoretical, and technical questions in the search for technosignatures, potentially revealing evidence of past or present ET technology in the cosmos. So yeah, I'm not going to get too far into that. I'm glad that SETI, I guess, is keeping going. But then I get to things like this, where Science Bob McGuire says my friend Franklin Antonio recently passed away and gave them, SETI, a $100 million gift. Can you imagine if, the Soul Foundation or, someone else sincerely devoted to finding evidence of ET or, non-human intelligence on Earth, if they were given that amount of money, what they could do with that? I mean, that's a lot of money. Give that money to the guys researching the Nazca mummies. I mean, we've got bodies, y'all. We've got bodies. And to that, I have to say, Jaime Maussan reposted one of my tweets. I love it. This is so cool, guys. I said, has it been confirmed that Raphael, and that's the fetus inside Montserrat, I said, has it been confirmed that Raphael is tridactyl? Because if so, that's the smoking gun. utterly impossible to fake a tridactyl fetus inside a tridactyl mother. Raphael is nestled inside a complicated capillary structure. It's a fetus. You can't just simply insert that in there. So if Raphael can be proven to be tridactyl, that is, impossible to fake. That is the smoking gun. So I can't wait to see that research. I think there's multiple smoking guns, honestly, with the Nazca mummies. I think the Nazca mummies are the smoking gun. But within that smoking gun, there are other smoking guns, and I think Raphael is a major one to concentrate on. So if we can get an answer on that, if Raphael is genuinely tridactyl, boom, there you go. But I love it. Jaime Masson reposting one of my tweets. This, of course, is Montserrat, one of the human-sized beings, a fascinating being in her own right, with multiple implants, an elongated skull. One of the implants is directly, in her third eye, basically. Very interesting facial shape, not human at all, obviously tridactyl and pregnant. And she would have given a live birth if she had lived, because she was, pregnant when she passed away. If she had lived, she would have given a live birth, would have delivered a live birth, unlike the smaller fellows and ladies who were egg-laying beings. It's fascinating that the Nazca beings had different reproductive cycles. And this, of course, is Raphael, the fetus inside Montserrat. And the likely tridactyl fetus. Early tests have indicated that Raphael is indeed tridactyl, but I don't think we've had conclusive, definitive proof yet. But early tests, like I say, do indicate that Raphael is actually tridactyl. 3 fingers inside a mother, also with 3 fingers. An amazing specimen. Obviously tragic that Raphael passed away before even being born. But amazing proof that we are not alone. Meanwhile, in an interview with James Iandoli, by the way, if you haven't seen my interview with James just the other day, I love James. I've been following him for years. Master at CE5. Well, anyway, he sat down with Danny Sheehan and got this really interesting bit from him. Let's give a listen.
In that article on the debrief, where Carl Nell essentially came out, there was another individual that I have not heard much about since. It's self-admitted in the article. It's somewhat of a pseudonym, but his name is Jonathan Gray. Has he also been involved in this process?
Again, I'm not allowed to talk about Jonathan Gray.
Okay. You're making this difficult for me, Danny.
Well, I can tell you this, that I was much more forthcoming as a general rule, and I have been I won't say admonished. I'll say I have been informed that I needed to be much more discreet about what it was I was willing to talk about if I was going to continue to be provided the kind of information we need to function here at the New Paradigm Institute.
Okay, so there you go. Just in order to continue functioning, he's not allowed to talk about certain things if he wants the access to the information that he needs. So I think that's unfortunate. I totally understand where he's coming from. I wish I knew what he knew and what his sources knew. But it is what it is. But there you go. People in the know aren't able to talk about a lot of the things that they know. And, unfortunately, they have their reasons, and they're probably often very good reasons for why they can't go into that. But it is certainly frustrating, and it makes me wonder who this gentleman is. Meanwhile, according to the debrief, warp theorists say we've entered an exotic propulsion space race to build the world's first working warp drive. That's incredible, guys. An international team of physicists behind several revolutionary warp drive concepts, including the first to require no exotic matter, says that recent unprecedented breakthroughs in physics and propulsion have launched the world powers into a Cold War-style 21st century space race to build the world's first working warp drive. We have a space race brewing, said Gianni Marte. I'm saying that right. The founder of the Applied Physics think tank and co-author on a pair of forthcoming warp drive research papers. There's still a ton to discover and invent, but we have the next steps now, which we didn't have before. Comprised of over 30 physicists and scientists in related disciplines, the AP team has gained a sizable reputation in warp theory community due to their highly regarded peer-reviewed papers on numerous warp drive concepts. One of those concepts has gained significant attention, inspiring many researchers and scientists to declare the team's constant velocity warp drive model as the first practical, viable warp drive concept ever proposed. I'll let you read the full article at your leisure, but that's wild, guys. We could be entering the actual era of warp drive technology. Now, I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, but that's amazing, guys. The idea that this could be out there, that we could be entering that era. So let me know what you think about this fantastic emerging technology. Meanwhile, Tim Burchett is saying that the CE5 may be a bad idea.
Methods of attempting to initiate contact or communication with other intelligent life forms using methods of spiritual practice or meditation. And you commented on this recently, saying that you believe these practices can open people up to demonic forces. So why do you think that?
That's just my belief. We're warned about those kind of things in the scripture, and people mess with the Ouija boards and all these things. Yeah, sometimes they're just a fun little game, but then people that are open to demonic suggestion, I think, they can have those. I mean, why do sane people perform mass shootings, or relatively sane people work in a hospital and poison a bunch of people? That's just. So that's not normal, and the mental health issue is an issue, and I just think that demonic forces could use these things to seances and things like that are not intended to be used. That's just my belief system. I don't know. I haven't. I hope Tucker Carlson doesn't see this, but I missed the interview where he was talking about that. I think it was on Rogan, maybe.
Anyway, he goes on talking about exorcisms and stuff, and I thought that was really intriguing that we have a sitting congressman talking about seriously about exorcisms, and he may be talking more about that, or maybe that's how he views all contact modalities as seances and Ouija boards and exorcisms, and that's how he thinks of it. I think that's an unfortunate way to think of it. To be sure, there do seem to be negative elements out there that you can interact with, and nobody wants to interact with those. If you're going to go into CE5 or any of these different modalities of contact with the beyond, whether that's ET or spiritual or one and the same, or something else altogether, you need to go into it. My advice is to go into it with love and light. Ground yourself, go into it with love and light, and try to co-create a positive experience, because in many of these modalities, we are co-creating this experience with the phenomenon. It is interacting with our consciousness. And something is the result of that. So that's why I don't recommend Ouija boards, not because they're bad, but because our conception of them is kind of influenced by popular culture, which definitely paints them in a bad light. So I think you're more likely to have a negative experience with a Ouija board, as opposed to meditation or CE5, something like that, without that negative connotation. However, I do think it's interesting and maybe even encouraging that we have sitting Congress people talking about contact modalities and even ascribing, a spiritual presence behind such contacts. Now, he does seem to lean into the exorcism thing and the spiritual thing, even though the original question was more about contact modalities. I think that J meant CE5 in addition to other forms of contact, but it's unclear if Tim really understood that and was really addressing CE5, or if he was really just following up on Tucker Carlson's comments about the phenomenon having a spiritual significance. And I say spiritual, but many people seem to ascribe more of a religious significance to the phenomenon. Angels and demons, and specifically, Christian angels and demons, not just archetypical, positive and negative beings, but specifically religious. And I think that describing something specifically religious is in my mind, that's not as helpful as trying to strip away the religion and sing about the truth that may be lying underneath. But hey, that's just my take, guys. So let me know your take in the comments below. But there's some cool stuff out there, guys, and you can interact with it. Last but not least, a nearly blind child gets glasses for the first time. This is amazing, guys. Look at the smile on this kid's face. This is going to make your day. You're like, what the hell is this thing? Oh, wait. Wait. Wait for it. Yeah, I mean, come on. How can you not? That's just adorable. That's just awesome. I'm so happy for that kid. Finally able to see. That is beautiful. I love it. Let me know what you think about that and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there.